I'm Ashley Deem, Executive Editor of Fantini Research, and I am here with CEO John Levy from theScore. John, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
So we're here at Betting on Sports America, and why don't you tell us a little bit about theScore's plans to launch your app mid-year, and maybe even some background on how this all came about.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, no, this would probably take the whole 8 minutes if I if I get into the whole history, but this is something that we've been thinking about and working towards forever. I grew up in the media business. My dad was one of the first guys in cable television in Canada in the 50s. Had cable operations that morphed into a TV network in Canada called theScore, which we launched in the mid-90s. And it was kind of an irreverent type of television service. It was data on a screen. We had a ticker on it. And the ticker actually was unique because it never went away, but important to what we're talking about today, the ticker had the odds on it. So our approach to sports and TV sports and the relationship with our customers was always different than most traditional sports networks. It was more an open, authentic, honest approach to sports. And of course, betting on sports is something that people have been doing forever. So rather than having two guys at a desk say, oh, that's surprising that that field goal meant something to somebody, our guys on air were pulling their hair out because they probably had a bet on the game. Our audience skewed young. It moved to digital mobile technology. We created one of the first apps in North America, so we were very early in the game, ended up selling the television network and built our mobile business to the point today where theScore is the second most popular app in North America. ESPN's #1 and we're #2. But it always continued to skew young and have that feel of authenticity. And that naturally involves betting on sports.
And so what is the rollout plan for your mobile sportsbook app?
So, as I said, we've been thinking about it for a long time. Once PASPA was repealed, activity heightened pretty quickly. So we did a deal with a company called BetWorks out of Las Vegas, David Wang. And it was really initially for access, to help us get access to skins or licenses within the states that were opening up early, like New Jersey. But in addition to that, what BetWorks brought to us was a whole inventory of amazing people who are basically on a technology company that we're plugging into with our technology, because our app is, 200 people running this thing. There's about 80 engineers. We have a full content team kicking out 300 or 400 pieces of content a day. So our whole approach to it was basically to integrate with BetWorks, with the technology they have, and basically move the betting technology inside of our platform, inside of our app. It's going to be a separate app, but the experience to the end user is going to be unique. And it's really, we're the only sports media company in North America that is really taking the bull by the horns. We're going all in, so to speak. And we'll be the operator of the sportsbook. We'll handle all aspects, and obviously that's supplemented with what BetWorks provides for us. And our first deal is in New Jersey. We did a deal with Drazen at Monmouth Park. Okay. And we're off and pacing in mid-2019, hopefully in advance of the NFL season.
And I think you've touched on this a little bit, but to bring it all together, what is theScore's competitive advantage in a market that is, as we can see, going to be very competitive? So
there's lots of betting apps out there, right? I mean, they're basically betting technology. They're transactional technology. Our whole approach, like it's always been, is that betting is just one aspect of why people engage and love in sports. People engage on our app 100 to 120 times a month. So we've actually laid the groundwork and built this asset. And we know over 50% of our user base bets on sports. We just launched a chat room, for example, and that's all people are talking about. So our whole approach is going to be, give them the opportunity to bet within our platform, within our brand, and not just do all this other stuff and then have them go elsewhere to bet on other platforms. And that's really the unique approach. I mean, it's treating betting on sports as just one aspect of what people do and how they engage in sports, rather than this monolithic thing all by itself out on the boonies, right. that people bet and then they go elsewhere.
And you mentioned starting in New Jersey, but a lot of states are talking about legalizing sports betting. Some already have, and moving toward operation.
Yes.
What does theScore, how does theScore see its presence increase as states continue to legalize?
We're ready, willing, able, anxious to go on a state-by-state basis if need be. I mean, the guys that we have at BetWorks our experienced team who've been in the betting and who know the space, either through the contacts in Vegas for years and years. So through them, through other people, our sort of tentacles are out, and we're prepared to go wherever we can to open up access on a state-by-state basis, or in fact some discussions with bigger players, national players who have multi-state opportunities, and that's something that we're looking at as well. So definitely this is we're not just dipping our toe in New Jersey and hope. We love the fact that New Jersey's open for business. We love the regulations and the way the rules have been established in New Jersey. We hope most other states do the same. We understand it may not be like that on a state-by-state basis, but quite frankly, it doesn't matter to us because our user base is all across the U.S. We know where they are. They tell us. We know what teams are following. We send them alerts every day. So if New York takes a little longer to decide how to properly regulate and move forward, we'll be ready when they're ready.
You're a Toronto-listed company.
Yes, we are.
So what are your sort of predictions or big picture outlook for Canada?
Okay, so that's really interesting. I mean, yes, we're all listed on the TSX Venture Exchange. We're a publicly traded company. 65% of our business does come from the States, though,
okay,
of our user base. About 20% from Canada, the balance the rest of the world. So we're really positioned as I love being a Canadian company, but we're not really a Canadian company, and it's because of our user base. The vision is to grow significantly. We think theScore has the opportunity to be the premier player in the sports betting business in North America. And the cherry on the cake recently was, the Premier of Ontario announced less than a month ago that Ontario might be open for business pretty soon. There's a little law inside of the criminal code that has to be changed, but there seems to be momentum towards that too, and that law is that single event wagering is not allowed under the criminal code, but there seems to be some momentum that will allow that to maybe be amended or taken out. And if that's the case, and similar to what happened in the US with PASPA, if that gets repealed, then the provinces will go forward. And if this opens up in Canada, I mean, listen, we're very excited about the US, and we're a brand in the US that nobody knows about, but everybody uses. That's going to change when sports betting happens in the US. In Canada, everybody knows us. So it'd be a huge opportunity for theScore, as well as everything that we see in the States.
And I think one of the other areas that we haven't touched on yet is eSports.
Correct.
What does theScore currently have planned in terms of
Okay,
eSports?
so we don't have enough time to talk about it because I just saw what was flashed, but I'm glad you brought it up.
Okay.
We're probably one of the predominant media players in eSports as well in North America. We have a whole department, a whole media team working on that. It's a different product entirely. It's more video focused. From probably a year and a half ago to now, where we have 700,000 people registered on YouTube watching our videos, and we're up to over 20 million video views a month on YouTube. So very, very exciting opportunity. There may be some gaming opportunities down the road, people betting on that. It's not our initial focus, but we're building a really terrific esports business, incubating it basically inside of our media company, and I think there's a big future for that as well.
And just to wrap it up, is there anything that you think that we haven't touched on that investors should know about theScore?
Other than we're a very unique offering. And I think there's a lot of huge opportunity in what we're doing. We built the base. We're not just building shiny objects. We're building real businesses. And if investors are interested in getting in this space and playing in this space, there really is no, I believe, there's no other opportunity as unique as ours and positioned as well as ours to go from where we are today to taking a tremendous position and a huge market share in this space.
John, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.